everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Gwen Mdinaradze. I'm the President and CEO of Speakers Alliance Canada and the Harvard Business School Online Global Community Virtual Event Facilitator. Thank you for joining us today. It's been a year since I started to facilitate the virtual events for the Harvard Business School Online, and Dr. Jolley's interview is the 18th virtual engagement, and I hope he will join us soon. As it marks the 45th annual Black History Month, I would like to take this opportunity to celebrate achievements and awards added to the history of America by Dr. Willie Jolley, as well as David and other community members today. So this is a very important day in the global chapter's history. Dr. Jolley is one of the selected professional speakers at Speakers Alliance Canada. He has been described simultaneously as a world-class award-winning speaker and singer, best-selling author, and media personality. Dr. Willie Jolley has achieved remarkable heights in the speaking industry, having come from humble beginnings as a fired singer who was replaced by a karaoke machine. He has gone on to be named one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world, Toastmasters International, inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame, and achieved the distinction of Certified Speaking Professional by the National Speakers Association. So I want to highlight that those 2 achievements, Certified Speaking Professional and Hall of Fame speakers, are the highest earned designation and achievement in the speaking industry. So I hope Dr. Willie Jolley will join us today, but if he has some technical issues, I'll be more than happy to lead the community, maybe I would say engagement event, to share your achievements and your experience, your awards within the community members. And I would like to get started with David. David, thank you so much to become a speaker today.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so good evening, everyone.
I'm so excited.
Good day, everyone. Wherever you are joining from, I know it's a big community from around the world. Let me start by saying that my impression of Black history is predicated on what the Blacks, the African Americans, particularly in the US, in Canada, and in many Western countries in the world, have achieved, regardless, irrespective of all the trauma and the experiences they have had, as we know in history, for centuries, maybe 400, 450, 500 years ago. So from then until now, and those of us you are seeing today who, quote and unquote, are Blacks or African Americans or African Canadians or whatever you call it, we are beneficiaries of the struggles and the sufferings and the challenges that those before us have endured and they have achieved. And we are, although the struggle continues, like they say, the journey continues, but I'm proud and glad to be a beneficiary of what those people have achieved. So talking about achievement, based on your question, I am a Canadian by choice, and I use that term in the sense that I wasn't born in Canada. I was born in Africa from Nigeria, but as I grew up and I went to school, I thought I wanted to enhance myself. I wanted to improve my circumstance, my education. So I decided to immigrate, and I came to Canada. And that's what I mean by being a Canadian by choice. I understand over the years that there are different categories of Black people. There are Black people who didn't have a choice. They were born in their country. And there were those who were several centuries ago were forced out of Africa and brought to the US and to Canada and moved away from their heritage. So there are different interpretations and different experiences that people have. And to some, it's a very sad experience. To some, it is a happy experience. But speaking from that point of being a beneficiary of what those people have achieved, I will say that when I left Nigeria and I came to Canada, I was first and foremost, to me, it was an achievement. But for the people who came 400 years ago, to them, it wasn't an achievement. It was more of servitude. It was, they were forced away from their home to come and serve and work, you know. So having gotten to Canada, I have experienced some of what those people experienced, some of it, a little bit of it. I cannot compare what I've experienced with what many of them experienced. I can vote. I didn't have to fight before I can vote. But for them, for hundreds of years, they couldn't vote. They were not counted as humans. They were counted as properties or as, actually, I understand that the Civil War was because some people saw the Black community as assets, as properties. And the government was saying, no, they are humans, you know, they are humans, we should give them the same right. So I went to the US for a few years to do my MBA, and then I came back to Canada, and then I did a second master's. And today I work in oil and gas. I have a good job. I consult. I have a private business. By all indication, it was the work that people who have been around, who were forced to come and work hundreds of years ago, it is that I will say is what they fought for. Some of them did not live to see it, but we today are beneficiaries of it. And I don't know, I'm not an authority on Black history, but I've read a few things. I've seen a few things. I've experienced a few things, both good and bad. And sometimes I imagine, I'm like, what did these people go through 200 years ago, 100 years ago? When I think when they passed the 19th Amendment, that was when they said that they could vote. And to them, that was a major achievement. To me today, to many Black people, they don't see it as an achievement that they can vote. You know, they don't, but some people pay the price for it. So if I'm going to tell you about my achievement, I cannot talk about my achievement without mentioning and ascribing that achievement to the people who had come 400 years ago, 300 years ago, who were brought to America out of, not of their own free will, you know, not of their own free will. I went to school, I applied for scholarship, I got so many things, and the credit goes to them. That achievement goes to those generations. So, of course, I didn't prepare for this, but that's all I can say for now. And then others can contribute to. And you are free to correct me if I didn't get some things right.
Well, what I want to correct is that you said you are not authority, but I think you are a great example of a huge success and achievement. And what you've done, 2 master's degrees plus Harvard graduate certificate, plus to move to Canada and study in the United States, like, what else? That's a lot of achievements, David. And you're a great example of how to be example for young generation and aspiring professionals. And thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
And today here, I see Dr. Alphonso, and Dr. Alphonso attends all our virtual events. And thank you. Alfonso, for joining us all the time. I very much appreciate it. If you want to share your achievements and awards, that would be so much appreciated because we all want to hear from you. And hi, and thank you for joining us bi-weekly.
Thank you. It's great to see you, Gwen, and it's always great to meet with my Harvard Business students online. Harvard Business School is always great with the information. I would employ anyone to sign up for the emails because it gives great insights on leadership as well as maintaining autonomy with your employees and colleagues. In addition to understanding about work-related stress, I gained so much information. It's not even from taking a course, but they're related information that they send. I read often, and I would employ any one of you to do that. Well, I would like to say, um, before my journey of HBS, I went to Liberty University and I was completing a master's degree in executive leadership. And I was seriously thinking about doing an MBA at Harvard. And I happenstantially looked for information at Harvard and found out about executive education. And within the executive education, I found that there was an OPM, which is owner president management, and I looked at different situations that I was looking forward to joining in the future. I had a business that I had started, which is I'm still doing it as a frozen smoothie business, and I'm thankful that we developed and we're ready for almost worldwide distribution. We're getting ready for nationwide distribution. It started with an idea at the kitchen table with my grandmother, and I'll briefly tell you that it was a journey. It was by faith, and I'm thankful. The achievement that I had was being able to be a celebrity DJ, stop my career, take care of my grandmother during her last years, and then be able to understand the dynamic of family. Without family, we really don't have anything, even if we have every achievement. I was blessed that as a DJ, I was able to work some of the nights before she became very ill and still be able to spend the daytime with her. So, in that, I started working out and I made a smoothie. A smoothie's frozen, like fruit and almond milk, different things you put in there. And one day I said, one day, Grandma, I'm going to make a very great company, a nationwide, worldwide company. And she looked at me with a smile. She always loved when I wanted to do something and she stood by my side. And then what actually happened when she went back and transitioned, I decided to start writing down recipes. And I went back to a local school called SUNY Levin Institute, and I got an entrepreneurial certificate in entrepreneurial achievement. And then the year after, I went to Liberty University. That same year, I started my company, which is Rich Smoothies Corporation, and we have a portfolio of beverages. Now we have 7 frozen smoothies, 4 varieties of tea, and we're looking at moving into protein mix. What actually happened was that I met with Willie Jolley at the church in New Jersey with my colleague and Dr. Reverend Soares, and I was just gaining into ministry as well as my company just really starting and burgeoning, and I also wanted to become a author, so to speak. So ironically, after my master's degree, I still built the business. Was still diligently looking at education as something that was important. And then I was able to meet with Dr. Jolley, and I said, I want to write a book. He spoke about personal achievement, faith, prayer, meditation, and believing in yourself. And then he told me briefly what you need to do is write your book and then sell it out of your car and then sell it to friends, build a reputation, build your brand, and then let people know about what you're doing. So moving forward, the situation was I was able to write a book. I was able to go back to school at seminary and get my doctorate degree in theology. And I was also able to do several HBS and HPX online courses. I'm currently finishing up the negotiation mastery finally for HBS Online. And I just finished one of the HB Harvard X, which is just the online version, Kennedy School, Exercising Leadership, which is Lead One, Exercising Leadership, Organizational Principles. What I'm saying is it's always good to continue learning. My journey was one of faith. I had a few bumps in the road, but because I believed and I did not waver, I am here today to let anyone know. Right now, I'm also the bishop of a church. We just had our online broadcast at 2:30 on Global Gospel Network.tv. And that's every week. It goes on Roku, Amazon, Fire Stick, Facebook, Vimeo, and several streaming devices. But before that, it was about, do you believe you can achieve? Do you really believe that your education is valued? It's not what the certificate gives you or the degree, but what is your inherent value to creating value in the world? When I'm able to pray, when I'm able to teach, when I'm able to be a friend, when I'm able to counsel, when I'm able to be a vessel that's of positivity, how am I helping my environment? My environment is being helped through my faith. And within that, how would you benefit from my presence? Not be devalued, but valued. And we all value each other. So I think one of faith and one of perseverance, because a lot of people almost make it and they give up instead of saying, if I would have just stayed and hung in there. I believe any journey is worth finishing. That's why you have some racers that will run the race and you'll see them come in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 hours after the first person is finished. It is not always about finishing to win the race. It is about running your race and your journey. Because if you run your race and your journey, you are still a winner. It is not about competition because you are your own competition. If you never run and never decide to go on a marathon, then you just didn't go on a marathon. But if you decide to start something, then you might as well finish. So I think that's very simple. And I think I'm glad that you're able to hear from me. His book is Attitude of Excellence. I have that book. It was interesting. My my fiance bought me the book that day, and now she's my wife. And he wrote to Brother Alphonso, "So good to meet you. The best is yet to come." And this is the book, Faith and Business, that was actually my dissertation for my doctorate degree. And it's about faith and business moving forward. I'll just finish up briefly with Black History. It was about celebrating. Interestingly enough, we celebrate the people that were before us, as my colleague just stated. I believe he's a engineer from Africa, and he's a manager for an engineering company, if I'm not mistaken. I recall I came in a little late, but he spoke about. I'm talking about Willie Jolley, Dr. Willie Jolley, about getting counsel and also being around people that can help. And reading the book that he gave me, he was a nightclub singer, and he said you have to decide to get serious about becoming successful and take action. That success changes everything. He states that I made a commitment that on a daily basis I would do more than I was paid to do and give more than I was expected to give and go further than I was asked to go. He continues, I start each day the same way with prayer and meditation. I thank God for each morning that I get out of bed and proudly proclaim, this is the day that the Lord has made, and I'm glad and rejoice in it. I have an attitude of gratitude because I have another opportunity to go out and live my dream. He says the second thing he does is ask himself, what would he do today if he was serious? And then list all of the answers. Thirdly, he reviews the list and begins the action steps towards achieving those goals. Dr. Willie Jolley says that it takes a PhD to get it done. And that PhD stands for persistence, hunger, and determination. Moreover, we must make an obligation to commitment and get serious about achieving success. His question is, what would you do today if you were serious? Do you recall at the beginning of my book I mentioned that you must have accountability. If you have a partner that's on your side to assist you, that it's always great. And if two touch and agree on a thing, it's already done. And I'm going back to my business when me and my grandmother touched and agreed that I would have a successful beverage company. And that day of having a successful beverage company is now. I'm looking forward to hiring another employee. And we're looking forward to doing more distribution and gaining more stores. And that it was a journey that was 10 years ago. And that journey, not one day, and the next day I just had a 7 portfolio of beverages. It was a journey of, do you believe in yourself? Are you going to stay in there? Everyone thought I was a crazy man because I was a celebrity DJ. So why are you going to become a person who sells health beverages? And that was persistence. And so many things tried to keep me away from it. Doors were closed, and then after serious prayer and faith, doors were open. And I believe that all of you that are in Harvard Business, and for the people that watch this video, if you really believe and have faith, it is going to work out for you. That's important. And I believe you have to have at least one human being. You know, you can have faith, but one human being at least that believes it's going to make a difference in what you achieve. Because if that belief meshes, that's how you're going to be able to hold on when things get tough. And they can say, did you remember why you started? And it's the same as the person who runs their race, and they could be the very last person in the marathon, and they don't quit because they were the last one to cover the finish line. They finish because they started. And I think that's important. And I'm glad that I was able to have this conversation with you. And it's always a pleasure, Gwen, and all my Harvard business associates. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alphonso. First of all, your speech transfers to the most motivational and inspirational keynote presentation. Thank you so much for sharing your achievements and awards with us. It's really amazing. And thank you for becoming the second speaker today's session. And here in the chat, I saw someone was from Switzerland. Raquel was from Switzerland, but I don't remember I saw her before. Is it your first time, Raquel? Hi. How are you?
Yes, hello, I'm fine. I'm very good. Yes, I've seen several recordings, sometime, yes, I have followed.
So it's your first time, right? Attending the...
No. It's not the first time I'm
really?
This kind of... Yes, I saw the last one, the person that speak about all the accidents that happens in her life.
Oh yeah, Donna.
Exactly.
Donna was
how she overcome.
So which course have you taken at Harvard?
The core, the financial analytics,
Yeah, that's amazing. I've never taken core. I took management essentials, but so many people are saying that it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, it was a bit difficult, but yes, it was. Yes, it is a different kind of learning. It was very interesting to do this course. Yes.
So nice to see you here, and I hope you can join us bi-weekly.
I hope so. Also, it's great to see this kind of meetings, of to learn something different.
Thank you.
It's very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Raquel. Hello.
How are you?
We are doing great. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Jolley.
Well, sorry for my tardiness. I've been running all day. I've been doing radio and television interviews all day, and some of them have been running a little long.
Oh, okay. I thought you had a technical issue. So then other community members shared their experiences and achievements. So it was very fun, and thank you for joining us. We already spoke about your achievements and your awards, but I want to start the first question. As you were the first Black president of the National Speakers Association DC chapter, What was the like and how did it challenge you?
Well, first I want to greet everybody and say I'm honored to be here at this program for Harvard. And I'm just honored to be a part of this program with Gwen. She has done such a great job of pulling this all together. So I want to greet you all wherever you may be around the country and around the world. And I let you hear how I begin every presentation, whether it's on my radio show, whether it's in my speaking, or whether it's in my interviews. I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it, forced upon me. I can't refuse it. I didn't seek it. I didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but our eternities are wrapped up in it. So I'm grateful for this minute, this moment, this opportunity to be with all of you and to greet you and to thank you for letting me be part of this esteemed group of thinkers. Now, as Gwen so wonderfully shared, I was honored to be the first African-American that was the president of the National Speakers Association DC chapter. And then I went on to be the first African-American elected to the National Board of Directors for the National Speakers Association. And in that process, I learned some valuable things about life and about success. And here's the thing that I want to talk about. If we celebrate Black History Month, we understand that Black History Month is a time that we commemorate the achievements of a race of people, and we commemorate and celebrate their struggle, their determination, their dedication, but we also find this time as a time of being a time of inspiration, and that you too can do some great things with your life and your future. So one of the things I always say in every Black History speech is Black history is not just about the past, but it also is about the present and the future. And so as we celebrate Black history, the lessons I learned as the first African-American, you're going to get some people who question or doubt your ability. And you're going to get people who might even try and block your way. But you have to be like Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey said one of the secrets to her success was she decided to be the creme de la creme, which meant the cream of the crop, the best of the best. And that means you must make a decision to be excellent. You got to be decided in your quest for excellence, intentional in your quest. I have made up my mind. I'm gonna be excellent. I'm gonna outwork. I'm gonna outdo. I'm gonna go harder. I'm gonna go further than expected. I'm gonna give more than I'm expected to give. I'm gonna go further than I'm expected to go, and I'm gonna do it with a spirit of being the best that I can be on a daily basis. When you do that, something amazing starts to happen. Something incredible starts to happen when you start to pursue excellence. See, excellence is something that these Black history makers made a commitment to do, whether it was a Jesse Owens, who in the 1936 Olympics, he was snubbed by Hitler. Hitler would not shake his hand or any of the other Black athletes' hand. And Hitler said, there's no way this Black person can win in the efforts against the Germans, the white Germans. But Jesse had a desire that Jesse Owens had a desire that he was going to be excellent. Now, on the long jump, you get 4 shots at doing it before you're disqualified. He had a foot fault on the first 3, but on the 4th one, he decided he was going to give his all, and he was going to do it with a spirit of excellence. And not only did he start off a few inches before the line, which meant that took away from his success on the other end, but he jumped with such excellence that he set a world record. And in those Olympics, he ended up getting 4 gold medals. Or whether it's another Black history maker we might look at as a person of excellence is George Washington Carver, who, when things got tough in the agricultural industry and cotton, which had been king, had devastated the ground, he found new ways to grow peanuts, and then new ways to take those peanuts that were grown and create peanut butter, peanut soap, peanut milk, all these new ways of using a peanut. And so I'm saying to you, wherever you are, that you make a commitment to be excellent. You make a commitment to do more, be more, and achieve more every day. And you too will start to have greater success personally, professionally. You'll start to have greater impact in terms of your community, as well as in terms of your industry. So I just want to say that Black history is not just about yesterday or the past, but it is also about today, the present, and about the future. And I'm expecting some of you to make incredible success stories from where you are. The other thing that we can all learn from this is that Black history lessons and the experience should not just be for Black people, but that we can all grow from it. One of the things I love to tell in stories is this, that in America, America is a culmination of many cultures coming together to create a new country. You've got different ages, different cultures, different ethnicities, different religions, but I've been a student of life and success, and I learned from everybody. So I'm grateful for my Jewish friends, my Lebanese friends, my Arab friends, my Muslim friends, my Catholic friends, my Mormon friends, my white friends, my Hispanic Latino friends, my Asian friends, because I've gained value from each. Here's what I like to say. We might have all come over here on different boats, but we're in the same boat now. And if we're going to win in a global economy and a global economic situation, we got to row together. So I learned from every culture. I'm so grateful for all of my friends. I had a meeting with one of my multi-million-dollar, multi-millionaire friends who's Lebanese the other day, and he told me about tabbouleh. I said, what is tabbouleh? He says, one of our favorite dishes is tabbouleh. And I said, wow, I want to go get some. And he told me a great place in Washington, D.C., a Lebanese restaurant where I can get authentic tabbouleh. And I said, I'm going to go do that. I love sushi. I went to Japan to speak, and I had so much sushi, I thought I was going to roll out of there. But I love these different cultures. I'm richer. I'm greater because of my Asian, my Hispanic, my white, my Jewish, my Muslim, my Arab friends, because I'm richer, because I did not limit my input of great people by the color of their skin.
Thank you, Willie. So you went on to be the first Black person elected to the National Speakers Association Board of Directors, and now are the first Black chair of the Hall of Fame Leadership Committee. And in the years since you first were the NSADC president to now, what have you seen as major changes in people thinking?
Well, that's a great question. As you said, yeah, I'm now the chair of the Hall of Fame Speakers Committee, and I'm the first African-American to be in that position. I'm very honored by that. And in the Speakers Hall of Fame, you've got people like Les Brown. Zig Ziglar used to be in there before he passed. Brian Tracy, W. Mitchell, Jim Rome was a part of the Speaker Hall of Fame. Harvey McKay, almost all the great speakers we would know by name, many of them are in the Speaker Hall of Fame. And so as the first African-American chair, what I've learned from where I was then, which was almost 25 years ago when I was president of the DC chapter, to where I am now, is the power of relationships. The power of relationships, and understanding that it's important to have respect for people, even if they are different. They could be very different. They could be someone who's quite different. Maybe they're politically different. Maybe they're economically different. But the power of relationships, and then the power as now the chair of always thinking how I can serve my constituents, my customers, my friends better. There's something about service that I want y'all to understand. There's something about the spirit of service that can change your life. I love this quote or this story that we heard about from Dr. Martin Luther King. In his last sermon, before he was killed, the last sermon at Ebenezer Baptist Church, he gave a sermon that is going on to be a historic and iconic sermon called The Drum Major Instinct. Many of you may have heard of that. And in that sermon, there's a small little piece that is profound. He talks about service. Dr. King said, if you want to be recognized, well, that's good. If you want to be important, well, that's fine. But if you want to be great, you need to know the new definition of greatness. Greatness is defined by the person who is willing to serve others. See, you don't need to have a college degree to serve somebody else. You don't need to know about Plato and Aristotle to serve somebody else. You don't need to know Einstein's theory of relativity to serve somebody else. You don't have to have your noun and your verb agree to serve somebody else. All you need is a heart full of love and a soul generated by grace, and you can serve somebody else. And if you serve somebody else, you can be great. And that's what I want to challenge each one of you to do. You came to Harvard not just for the intellectual stimulation and not just for the academic excellence, but you came to Harvard because you have something special, not just academically, but mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And in that specialness, I want to challenge you to serve somebody else. Serve somebody today. Do something good for somebody today. Make a difference in the lives of somebody else. Even if all you got within you is to tell somebody, thank you for the impact you had on my life. I'll tell you an example. Earlier today, I was blessed because I got to see my first grade teacher. Now, it's been it's been over 50 years since I've seen my first grade teacher. Her son called me last week and we chatted. And I said, I'm gonna call your mother. He said, she's really proud of you. I said, I'm gonna call her. So I called her and we chatted. And she told me, she said, I was always tough on you because you were so energetic and a little bit mischievous. She said, because I said there was something about this kid and I was tough on you. And now that I see you're a best-selling author, you're a well-known speaker, I hear you on the radio, I maybe should have been tougher on you. And I said, I'm going to bring you a package, a gift. So I took a number of my books I took a bunch of my books, and many of you might know I have a book called It Only Takes a Minute to Change Your Life, and a book called A Setback that's a national bestseller. Then this was a global bestseller, A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback. Then another global bestseller turned setbacks into greenbacks. And then An Attitude of Excellence. And then my latest book is a marriage book with my wife, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. So I took the collector's editions of each one of those books, first edition, I signed them to her, and she still lives in the Washington area. And I went to her home, I rang the doorbell, I put the books in a package at her door. She came to the door, and I walked back to near my car so I could have some social distance. And I told her, thank you. Just thank you for being tough on me. Thank you for encouraging me. Thank you for teaching me. And thank you for your willingness to not make it easy, but to push me to be better. One of the things I want everybody to know, that life is about overcoming struggles. You're going to have struggles. You're going to have struggles in this academic pursuit. You're going to have struggles financially, maybe have struggles with your job or your career. You're going to have struggles in life, and they are good. Don't see the struggle as a negative. I want you to flip it. I want you to reframe it and see it as a positive. Why? Because it is out of the struggle that you fly. In my book, A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback, one of my favorite stories from the book is a little boy going through a forest, comes upon an emperor moth, struggling to make the transformation from a moth to a butterfly. The little boy sees the moth struggle to get his big body through the small opening. An hour goes by. He looks at his struggle. 2 hours, 3 hours. Finally, the little boy takes out a penknife, cuts a slit in the cocoon to make it easy so it would not have to struggle. And when he made the slit, out fell a bug that was neither a moth nor a butterfly. It had a big bloated body and small, shriveled, undeveloped wings. He says, fly, fly, you're supposed to fly, but it couldn't fly. Its wings were undeveloped. He went to get his grandfather, come. Why won't it fly? He said, my son, what did you do? He said, I cut a slit to make it easy so it wouldn't have to struggle. He said, my son, that's where the mistake was made. See, it is in that process of forcing his big body through that small opening that it has to force the fluid out the body into the wings. Without forcing the fluid out the body into the wings will never develop. Without developed wings, that butterfly cannot fly. And a butterfly that cannot fly will never survive in the wilderness. The moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen, is that life and flight are in the struggle. You must struggle. How many of you have children? How many of you got children? Anybody here got children? Now, you know, when your children were babies, they crawled around on their hands and knees. But one day, miraculously, for the first time ever in their lives, they stood on their own 2 feet. What was the exact next thing they did? They fell down. But not one of you said, oh, stay there, baby, stay there. No, what did you say? You said, get up, try it again. And they got up and they tried to do it again, and they fell down again. And he said, do it again. And they got up and they fell down again. Now, sometimes they fell on their backsides, but sometimes they fell on their face. And you not only allowed them to fall on their face, you encouraged them. You encouraged them to do it again. Do it again. Because you knew if they never fell and got up, they never learned how to walk. They never fell and got up. They never learned how to run. They never fell and got up. They never learned how to maximize their potential. But some of us on this call today have been knocked down by life. Life has not been fair to us. It's knocked us down and treated us poorly. And yet, I want to say, you must get up. And don't let that stop you. Get up and fly like you were born to fly. It's going to be a struggle, but it is through the struggle that we become all we can be. So I thanked that first grade teacher. I gave her a bunch of my books and said, thank you for pushing me, making me struggle with my handwriting, making me struggle to learn how to read and write, making me struggle to learn some communication skills, making me struggle because I'm all the better for it today. And that's why I wanted to come. When Gwen invited me, she said, would you do this? I said, absolutely. I'd be happy to do it because there's someone in this room. There's somebody on this call who's the one. Who's the one? Let me tell you a little more about that story. When I was in 12th grade, I was not a very good student. In fact, I had a bad attitude and I was just barely making it. One day there was an announcement on the public address system. We have a motivational speaker. Everybody must come to the auditorium. It's mandatory. So I say to my homeroom teacher, what, a motivational speaker? I don't hear no motivational speaker. I don't need no motivation. I can stay here and do my homework. It's only about 2 weeks late. She said, young man, you really need some motivation. I said, no, seriously, I don't want to go. She said, you got to go. Why? She said, it's mandatory. Didn't you just hear him say it's mandatory? I said, what does that mean? She said, that means you got to go. You got to go. I said, I don't want to go though. She said, you got to go. It's mandatory. Okay. Well, you can make me go, but you can't make me listen. How you like that? I told you I had a bad attitude. So I sat in the back of the auditorium. I threw my hood over my head and I started singing to myself. I don't need to hear that, man. Having a little song and dance with myself back in the last row. I don't need to hear that. I wasn't paying any attention. But somewhere in that man's speech, he got my attention. And he said something that captivated me. He said, one of you has something special inside of you. One of you has something awesome inside of you. One of you going to change the world because you came this way. I don't know which one it is, but I know it's one of you. And in that moment, it's like a light came on inside of me. It's like somebody flipped a light switch and something woke up inside of me that had been dormant, had been sleeping. And inside of me, I heard a little voice say, it's me. I'm the one he's talking about. I'm the one. And when that man finished speaking, he walked off the stage, walked down the center aisle. He walked right toward my aisle. I jumped out of my seat. I went to the edge of the row and I put my hand out to shake his hand. He stopped. He shook my hand. And I wanted to tell him I was the one, but my words wouldn't work. I couldn't get the words out of my mouth. And he said, young man, nice to meet you. And he walked off. And I was so excited about hearing this new thinking, but I was disappointed because I hadn't been able to tell him that I was the one. Well, years went by. And one day, about 10 years ago now, I'm on my way from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles, California to give a speech. And I do a layover in Denver, Colorado to catch my connecting flight. And as I'm walking through the airport in Denver, Colorado, who do I see but that man? Oh my goodness. I hadn't seen him since high school. And he was walking through the airport with an entourage of people. And I walked over and I got through the crowd and I got up in his face. I said, sir, excuse me, but excuse me, do you remember coming to Roosevelt Senior High School? He said, I know you, young man. You're Willie Jolley. I said, yes, sir. He said, I've seen you on PBS. I've seen you on the internet. I've heard your radio show on Sirius XM. I love your work. I got a couple of your books on my bookshelf. I said, thank you, sir, but that's not why I stopped you. I said, sir, do you remember coming to Roosevelt Senior High School in Washington, D.C. and giving a speech for the students many years ago? He said, yes. And I said, do you remember telling the students in that room that day that someone had something special inside of them? He said, yes. I said, sir, I couldn't tell you then. But I can tell you now, it was me. I was the one. And so I share that story specifically because Gwen, when she called me, she said, we don't have a big budget. We know you charge money, a lot of money to speak. I said, I understand. Will you do it? And I said, yes. I didn't tell you, Gwen, why I would do it. Because something in my spirit told me I needed to speak to this group of people. I needed to speak to this group because one of you got something special inside of you. One of you got something awesome inside of you. One of you going to change the world because you came this way. I don't know which one it is, but I know because when I got that invitation, I saw something in my spirit. I felt something to say, speak to this group because one of them has something special. I don't know which one it is, but I know it's one of you, and I've never been wrong. So I'm honored to be here today to speak to you about the fact that Black history is what we celebrate today, but your history is still yet to be written. There's history still made. Oh, you don't have to be the first to make history. You don't have to be the only to make history. You just have to have a spirit of excellence, a commitment to go beyond your comfort zone, a willingness to go beyond what others think is necessary, a willingness to give more than you're expected to give. If they're paying you $1, give them $2 worth of work. If they tell you to be there early, come a little earlier and stay a little later. Go the extra mile. Be the one that expands beyond your possibility. Be excellent. Then you'll make history and you'll make a difference.
So thank you so much, Willie, for your very inspirational and motivational keynote or interview. I even don't know what to call this. It was so inspirational, and we all very much appreciate your hard work and your significant achievements. And we at Speakers Alliance Canada are fortunate to be working with you. And I want to thank you for joining Harvard community with no charge. I think it happened exclusively only for Harvard community, and we very much appreciate it.
But let me give everybody a gift real quick. If you go to winwithwillie.com, winwithwillie.com.
I will type it in chat.
In fact, go to this. This is even easier. WJWOW, W-O-W, WJWOW.com. There's a all access pass, WJWOW.com. And there's an all access pass, and you go to there, you get some free books, some ebooks, some audios, some music, things that will bless you in your process. There you go, WJWOW.com. Get those, just be part of our community, stay connected to me, and just do well. Bless somebody else. How can you pay me for this? Pass it on. Just pass it on to somebody else. Do good for somebody else. That's all I ask you to do.
Thank you so much, Willie. I also want to thank David and Dr. Alphonso. Before you had a technical issue, they took over the presentation. They shared their achievements and awards. So I'm so grateful for our community to join us today, and we will be back in exactly 2 weeks on Friday, and I very much look forward to seeing you. Thank you again, Willie, and we all very much appreciate that you did this for us.
My pleasure. God bless y'all. Happy Valentine's Day for those who got Valentine's, those who are celebrating this wonderful month of love. Happy Valentine's Day, and thank you. And oh, by the way, if you go to jollymarriage.com, I'll give you a free chapter from my marriage book. Just go get it. Have fun. God bless y'all. Have fun. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Stay healthy. Stay
Thank
safe. And enjoy yourself. God bless y'all. See y'all.
Bye, Willie. Thank you. Bye, everyone.